إن الحمد لله نحمده ونستعينه ونستغفره ونتوب إليه ونعوذ بالله من شرور أنفسنا ومن سيئات أعمالنا من يهده الله فلا مضل له ومن يضلل فلا هادي له وأشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله. أما بعد فإن أصدق الحديث كلام الله وخير الهدي هدي محمد صلى الله عليه وسلم وشر الأمور محدثاتها وكل محدثة بدعة وكل بدعة ضلالة وكل ضلالة في النار. يا أيها الذين آمنوا اتقوا الله حق تقاته ولا تموتن إلا وأنتم مسلمون. يا أيها الناس اتقوا ربكم الذي خلقكم من نفس واحدة وخلق منها زوجها وبث منهما رجالا كثيرا ونساء واتقوا الله الذي تساءلون به والأرحام إن الله كان عليكم رقيبا. يا أيها الذين آمنوا اتقوا الله وقولوا قولا سديدا يصلح لكم أعمالكم ويغفر لكم ذنوبكم ومن يطع الله ورسوله فقد فاز فوزا عظيما. الله أكبر 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 ولله الحمد. الحمد لله الذي جعل هذا اليوم عيدا للمسلمين والصلاة والسلام على معلم البشرية الخير محمد وعلى آله وصحبه ومن تبعهم بإحسان إلى يوم الدين. All praise is due to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. With His divine support, tawfiq, divine support, who provided us with His divine skill to make it here again this morning and repeat what we have done 70 days ago after putting down the bags of Ibadah, the bags of Ramadan, and picking up the bags of Hajj. Here we are again to put them down again and move on. Believe in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and move on. And that is the message we get from every Eid. Believe in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and move on. I will start this talk with a story. A story that made a Kuwaiti scholar cry. Not on the 8th day, but later. And what is the story? In the morning of the 8th day, this little kid came to the family where they are sitting, holding his presents. And he said, Aidukum Mubarak. And the mother said, Ayyamuka kulluha sa'ida. And the story ends. 2 sentences. Aidukum Mubarak. And the mother said, Ayyamuka kulluha sa'ida. She said it with her heart, and then her tongue repeated it. And this scholar learn from these 2 sentences the 2 things we need in our life. Serious word from a child and a serious answer from a parent. But what made the scholar cry is the meaning of these 2 sentences. And what is the meaning? Your Eid is blessed. And the mother said, I pray to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala the one who placed you on this earth. I pray to him to bless every day you live. I pray to him to make you happy in every day you live on this earth and successful. And what made this scholar cry is that he was trying to find the real meaning of these two sentences. And you heard it this morning, I'm sure, from your children. Eid Mubarak. Is the Eid really Mubarak? Is our Eid blessed? Are our days truly full of happiness and success? The scholar said no. And what made him say that? Because of what is happening around the world. If Eid means to be happy, we want to be, but how? But we have to be. It is an ibadah. It is an act of ibadah. And we have to be happy when we have to. With our bruises and wounds on our way to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, we be happy. And musibah, regardless how big it could be, could never wipe out the smile from our faces. We go to Allah while we are crying or laughing. Because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala reminded us by saying in the Quran, مَا أَصَابَ مِن مُصِيبَةٍ فِي الْأَرْضِ وَلَا فِي أَنفُسِكُمْ إِلَّا فِي كِتَابٍ مِن قَبْلِ أَن نَبْرَأَهَا إن ذلك على الله يسير لكي لا تأسوا على ما فاتكم ولا تفرحوا بما آتاكم والله لا يحب كل مختال فخور الذين يبخلون ويأمرون الناس بالبخل ومن يتولى فإن الله هو الغني الحميد. The ayah that reminding us how to deal with the musibah. First of all, to remember this musibah has been prescribed and written and created before we exist and before this universe do exist. ما أصاب من مصيبة في الأرض ولا في أنفسكم. Any musibah happening to someone else, to some people, in some places on earth, or to you directly, it was already there in a book. Before this world exists. And that is easy to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Why? Musibahs coming and going to tell us one more message. لِكَيْ لَا تَأْسَوْا عَلَى مَا فَاتَكُمْ. For us not to cry and stress for what we lost. And what did we lose? We lost a lot. And everybody in their death, they can recall and remember what they lost. Something that we wanted and we didn't get it. Or something that we had and it is gone. It could be wealth, it could be family members. It could be a position, it could be anything. But don't cry over it, it is gone. And if it's still with you, something that we really love, وَلَا تَفْرَحُوا بِمَا آتَاكُمْ. Don't be too happy with it, because it is not the measurement of your happiness. وَاللَّهُ لَا يُحِبُّ كُلَّ مُخْتَالٍ فَخُورٍ. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala dislikes those people who are proud due to something they have for this dunya. And out of that pride, they will fall in love with that and they become bakhil, greedy. And if anything happens, we may comment about it. But Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala does not want us just to comment, we do something about it. الَّذِينَ يَبْخَلُونَ وَيَأْمُرُونَ النَّاسَ بِالْبُخْلِ. Those people who are already greedy, they hold everything Allah gave to them and use it only for themselves. And encourage other people to do so. And the people in musibah, Allah will look after them, they say. But we have been entrusted to do so. So when the Eid comes, we remember the happiness, and we remember also the musibah that is happening around us. The musibah of Palestine, which took place before many of us exist on this planet and is still going on. The musibah of the people of Palestine comes first, before the musibah of Al-Masjid Al-Aqsa, which is repeating from time to time. But Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala told us to focus on the building of the human being before buildings. When the Prophet alayhi salatu wasalam said to the Sahaba about the Kaaba, it is great and it has hurma and dignity in the eyes of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. But the blood of the believer is more than the Kaaba. So the Palestinian people first, and then Al-Masjid Al-Aqsa, which has been looked after by the people of Palestine, and they are still dying for it. And we thought that was one wound, still bleeding. And before it is healed, the wound of Afghanistan. And before it is healed, another wound in Iraq. And before it is healed, another wound in Syria. And if we keep on counting, we will never stop. And all is happening in the land of the Muslims. It is a musibah, but what do we remember? It's happening for a reason. A test or a punishment, and either one is good for a believer. Because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, مَا أَصَابَ مِن مُصِيبَةٍ فَبِإِذْنِ اللَّهِ وَمَنْ يُؤْمِنْ بِاللَّهِ يَهْدِ قَلْبَهُ وَاللَّهُ بِكُلِّ شَيْءٍ عَلِيمٌ. Any musibah that happens, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala knows about it. During that musibah, stay on the station of Iman and Ibadah. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will give you the release out of it. So to a believer is not a shock. The musibah that we read about every day, when we are supposed this morning to think about only the blood of sacrifice that Muslims do this morning to kill animals for the poor people and themselves. But the sacrifice in this Eid and the Eid before, we can see. It was not sacrificed by animals only, but by humans, somebody else, sacrificing somebody else on the day of the Eid. And what makes it more painful, a Muslim to a Muslim? It is a musibah. While Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala told us, even with the animals, it is not the slaughter and the meat will reach Allah, but the taqwa. The piety that we learn from that. Are we sad and distressed because of the Muslim death around the world? Yes, we are. But before we go that far, we look into ourselves now and say, nobody killed me, but I'm killing myself. Suicide that we're committing every day. In what image? And when we talk about this, if life means to believe in Allah and worship Him, if we don't believe in Allah, or believe but we don't worship Him, we are committing suicide. In what way? Addicted to alcohol among us, and that is a suicide. Addicted to drugs and immoral relations, this is suicide. Nobody did it to us, but we did it to ourselves. Addicted to what? To giving up our salat, not praying. Suicide, spiritual suicide. Because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala told us, فَخَلَفَ مِنْ بَعْدِهِمْ خَلْفٌ أَضَاعُوا الصَّلَاةَ وَاتَّبَعُوا الشَّهَوَاتِ فَسَوْفَ يَلْقَوْنَ غَيًّا. Among these believers, some people decided willingly not to go to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and they commit suicide through giving up their salat. And then what comes? Once we give up our salah, what will happen? It is a sign that we are committing sins. We are following our desire. Khalqun, adha'u salah, if we disregard our salah, straight away, it is replaced with following the desire. Suicide. To the extent that a day will come, you will see a Muslim, young boy or girl, who says, I'm not a Muslim anymore. And this is a final suicide. And what took them into this state? Because they neglected Islam for so long. To the extent that a day came when they asked themselves, why am I a Muslim anymore? I'm not Muslim anymore. And that is the final step in committing suicide. Now the person is dead. But throughout this person's life, every day they take a tablet of death. And what is that? Addicted to immoral things, and they live with it day and night. Addicted to giving up their salah. They don't pray, not Zuhur, not Asr, not Maghrib, not Isha, not Fajr. Suicide. Because this is a real death. So before we cry about seeing the emotional photo of the young Syrian, the baby Syrian who was taken out by the waves of the sea to tell mankind who they are. This is what we are. This is what we have done. What Fir'aun has done, who used to kill babies. These waves took it out to show us how we are. ظهر الفساد في البر والبحر. Our corruption appears on earth and on sea due to what we do and what we say. It is social suicide. If we fail to understand that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala created us for each other, created us for the community. And when I talk about the community, I'm supposed to say in the beginning, thanks to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, who made us Muslims. Thanks to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, who made for us an easy way to have Islamic Centre. Thanks to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, who appointed among us people who have their own full-time jobs, yet they decided to accept willingly to become people of service, serving themselves and their families, plus serving the Muslim community. Day and night, they are here. Thanks to Allah for raising among us people like them. And our duty is to support them and correct them if they make a mistake, and speak to them with the tongue of the truth. Thanks to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for our social life. And we encourage each other to become the men of service, not the men and women of comments who will do nothing to be unity, who will not able to come and take the position of a president or vice president or treasurer or a committee member, but will backbite outside there and say anything bad about this team. Thanks to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for being part of people who love to serve. So what happened on the sea is to show us who we are. Due to having corrupted political leaders, corrupted religious leaders, corrupted imams, corrupted ma'muns, and so on, we see the result. But what can we do about it? فَاتَّقُوا اللَّهَ مَا اسْتَطَعْتُمْ. Observe your duty towards Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala as much as you can. But no one can sit there and say, I can do nothing at all. We can do something. And each day like that, and the word aid, something that repeats itself, go and come and go and come. It means it makes time become new again. This is a day that repeats itself only twice a year. A day that lasts for 24 hours. One of them has gone, and we are living the other one right now. Eidul Adha, the feast of sacrifice. And the Eid means when we see the beauty in new clothes, when we see the beauty in making our houses look very nice on the Eid day, our cars, our bodies, and have a shower and clean ourselves, that is not Eid. The Eid is when we renew who we are, when we decide from today on to become a new person, having a new heart, having a new soul. The Eid that will make us join those people who always been new. And day before yesterday, I was talking to one of the elderly people whose age could never stop him from coming to the masjid to pray Isha and Fajr. And we are much younger than these people. I spoke to one of them 2 days ago in the car park. I said, "Uncle, I congratulate you." For what? For your granddaughter. The Prophet ﷺ said to the Sahaba one day, "Man athnaytum alayhi khayran wajabat lahu al-jannah, wa man athnaytum alayhi sharran wajabat lahu an-nar." All people, these people, everyone sitting here or not here, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala planted on their heads 2 eyes to look at us, to see what we do, 2 ears to listen to what we say, and their heart will take the report out on the day of judgment. So I congratulate you, oh uncle, for your granddaughter, someone I witnessed from the madrasa as a kid. Never miss madrasa, looking for Allah in that age. And when she grew up about the madrasa, joined the youth class, never miss. And when the youth class stopped, joined the ladies class, never stop looking for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And that's what the Prophet ﷺ called وَشَابٌ نَشَأَ فِي عِبَادَةِ اللَّهِ. We all pray to Allah to give us children like that. In their childhood, they are with Allah, with the rest of the good children. In their teenage age, with Allah, with the righteous teenage people. And if there's no childhood, no teenagers willing to come and grow Islamically, they join the adult, the ladies class, still looking for Allah so early in this age. And that's why I say to this uncle, congratulations for that. And we all in our heart, it's very easy for us to give our kids the pleasure and everything else. But what is difficult, and we are afraid to go through what Prophet Nuh alayhi salam went through. Spending nearly 1,000 years to people, including his family. And he could convince some of the people, but not his family. And this is the thing that makes us as parents sit there and ignore the beauty of the world and say, I'm an ugly parent because I could not see the beauty of life in my children. So this is the meaning of Eid. When we can renew ourselves and make this serious change in our life, the only thing no one can do for us is to change ourselves. So Eid is an opportunity for us to re-look for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And remember this ayah, when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, يَوْمَ يَأْتِي بَعْضُ آيَاتِ رَبِّ لَا يَنْفَعُ نَفْسًا إِيمَانُهَا لَمْ تَكُنْ آمَنَتْ مِنْ قَبْلِ أَوْ كَسَبَتْ فِي إِيمَانِهَا خَيْرًا. When the decision of Allah comes, the signs of death, the qiyamah, or the signs of our death comes, our iman will become useless. Anybody will never benefit from their iman. If you have been born as a Muslim, but we did not practice that iman until we see death, it is too late. Or I become a Muslim, but I didn't make a move. I'm still in the same footstep, and the only thing I have is the Shahada. Because the purpose of my Islam was business, and the business is going on. I don't care about Allah. The purpose of my Islam was marriage, and I go to my husband or my wife, I don't care about Allah anymore. Just like many Muslims who are born Muslims, the purpose of my Islam was to please my family, not to please Allah. And now I'm free, I don't need to learn about Islam. How come we are not happy with little bit of money? We become sad and stressed and even go and do something haram to make our money increase. How come we are not happy with all the clothes or a bit of them? How come we are not happy with nothing for this dunya little, but when it comes to our knowledge about Islam, we are happy with it and ready to die with that little knowledge? This ayah is warning us. Are you a Muslim? It is not a sign of prosperity yet. Are you a new Muslim? It doesn't mean anything yet until we start working to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and use our time to look for Allah, use our money to look for Allah, use our energy and our youth to look for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, because we cannot guarantee when this dunya day and night will eat our body and our head and we become old. We cannot guarantee to remain like those uncles who are still limping and some using the sticks to come to still pray in the house of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Why? Because they live and die for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So Eid is a time for us to renew ourselves and be grateful to our community and be grateful to our government who is making us able to practice Islam if we want. And if we don't, we cannot blame them. So we praise Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for giving us politicians with morals who live for people, everybody. Politicians who know that every citizen in this country belongs to this country, and we have to be there for them. Not all of them are corrupted, but we have corrupted politicians the same way we have corrupted religious leaders, corrupted imams, corrupted ma'mums, but sometimes we only see it in the politics life. And we forgot the corruption inside me by my own choice. Who forced me to ignore my salat? It is me. Who forced me to go out there and do something haram or look at something haram? It is me. Who forced me to do the haram things? Not the government, not the society. And the proof is that some people from the government, they're coming back to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and they say no to any wrong decision made against some of the minority in this country. Some people who are born here and they know the place more than us, they decided to go back to Allah fully, not halfway, not part-time. So we cannot blame time and place anymore. It is our decision that Allah will take us with. Decide to pray or not to pray. Decide to learn or not to learn. But it's very important, and I will conclude with that, it's very important to know who we are. Because as an Imam, and you witness me what type of Imam I am, and I witness you what type of Ma'mum. As an Imam, I can notice sometimes some of the people who have no knowledge about politics at all, they try to talk about it, and then they cause problem. We have people among us who are good in politics, and if we have something political, we should not go to the Imam for that, or somebody, we go to those people who understand the politics. They can save Islam from that point. And when we go into that without knowledge, we are causing fitna and mess. And the other thing, when we come to religious issues, some people who have no background about religion, or they have, but they are not in charge. When it comes to religious issues, they ignore the Imam and give him the idea. This is my opinion. This is a sign of immaturity. We should never be like that. We have to respect positions. Just like the Imam should never interfere when it comes to administration. Leave it to the committee. They know what to do and they know how to deal with the government. Also, when it comes to religious issues, we have to respect Islam. and let the Imam, if you believe he is qualified, but if I believe he is not qualified, I can come and say, this is the proof that what you said and what you did is wrong. You should follow this one, and we follow it as an Imam. If we do that, we are honest students of Muhammad alayhi salatu wasalam. If we don't, we are fighting for our king and our culture. And that is not Islamic. On a day like that, inshallah, may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give us the prayer of that child and the prayer of that man. Aidukum Mubarak, ayyamuka kulluha sa'ida. Your Eid will be blessed, and every day in your life will be full of happiness and success. But the only way to be happy and successful is to stay with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And with the musibah around the world, remember, we go to Allah with smiles and tears. It is normal. But we should never give up. This is the nature of this life. And if you remember what Sheikh Hamza Yusuf said, this world is designed to break your heart. But we say, a believer's heart will never be broken. We get disappointed. But our heart will never break. Why? Because Allah is there for us. So believe in Allah and move on and go forward. Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar, Wallahi alhamd. كل عام وأنتم بخير كل عام وأنتم أحبابنا وأنتم بألف خير والسلام عليكم ورحمة الله تعالى وبركاته.